Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Change Podcast, Insights into Empowerment. And I want to talk about welcoming you to October as well, because I was thinking about that today. And what does that mean is we've only got 3 more months left in this year, and I'm panicking because I haven't done enough. How about you guys? Let me know. We have another amazing guest today. And this lady, I cannot wait to talk to her. She's a transformational life coach. And I know that there have been not just but times in my life when I have certainly needed someone like her. What does she do? She helps clients become their authentic self and confident self. So welcome. I am your host, Nicole Harvick, and let's get started. Except my person is missing. So let's see if she comes back in. She was just, and I will tell you, I've had a lot of glitches with StreamYard today. So let's see. See if she comes back in. If not, I will go out and find her and start again. I know this is live in a couple of places, so I'm really not sure what happened.
Okay.
There you are. I know. I read this beautiful intro for you, and I'm like, oh my gosh, where is she? And see, that's what I'm saying. It's been a weird glitch day. It's just been really, really strange. So we just keep going. We're resilient, and we move forward. So I introduced you, and I know that you are a transformational coach.
Yes.
Tell us what that means, please.
Yeah, so it's kind of a buzzword these days, but I call myself a transformational life and business coach because the transformational part comes from getting to the root of what holds us back. So really helping people get to that core root of how they're self-sabotaging, of the habits that are playing out. And from there, using a compassionate lens to transform it at the root in order to turn our blocks into stepping stones on the way to where we're going. So it's a very non-judgmental way of transformation so that's sustainable. We're not doing that yo-yo effect, but instead it's really getting deep to transform it, because if we don't go to the root, it's just going to show up again in a different area of life, in a different pattern. And so in order to create that sustainable, true transformation, we go deep.
Oh, that's so interesting. Now, when you say deep, are you talking like trauma or something buried in their subconscious?
More in the subconscious space. So sometimes it's inner child work. I work a lot with the subconscious because people don't realize that the subconscious is primarily developed in childhood, and then it's playing out in 90 to 95% of our daily life as adults. And the subconscious is a little tricky because it's not logical in the way our conscious mind is. And so when we get into the subconscious, we can see those mispairings of like, oh, I've seen like if I can't make more money because my relationship will be impacted, or I can't go after what I want because I was taught it's not safe to trust myself. Things like that we don't consciously know are playing out, but are living in the subconscious. And then we can get to the root of that and start rewiring it so that it doesn't hold us back anymore.
You know, I read somewhere, and you can tell me if this is true or not, that a lot of ideas or traumas that we have are by age 7.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's most of when the subconscious is formed by.
Oh, and you know, I think about like with my kids, I'm like, what have I done? You know, because when you first have kids, I mean, that is not something I knew until a couple of years ago. So what is your process for getting to the root? How do you help them dig down deep and find what's really blocking them?
Yeah, there's a couple different ways that we go about it. I start by helping people really tune into what is this vision that they're creating, really getting connected with what is that desire that's on your heart. Because I always say what's on your heart, it's here for a reason. And so really helping people tune into that, connect with that vision, helping it feel so real. And then from there, I just ask, one reason I can't have this is, and then let the subconscious supply the answer. We don't go looking for the answer. We don't try to think about the answer, but there's going to be something that pops in. And that right there is what the subconscious is saying is my number one reason of why I can't have what I want.
I love that. Now, do you use hypnosis or just talk?
I don't. I'm so curious about it, but I just do talking, just asking questions. And then usually from there, so we'll get the belief that the subconscious is attached to. And then we'll do some inner child work around that part. So when did that part first come into play? Whose voice is that? Is it your voice, or is it a parent or a guardian's voice or an ex's voice or something like that? And then from there, we can start unwiring it.
Wow. And I do know, and when I deal with my clients with either trauma or something, they'll say, I don't know. I don't know. And I'm like, no, you do know. You do know. It's in there. It's in there. And then all of a sudden something will come out and they're like, who said that?
Yeah. Because it can be sneaky. And exactly, the I don't know, the lack of clarity is itself a form of protection. So it's just asking, like, what would it be like if you did know? If you did know, what would it be? Just different ways of kind of, enticing the subconscious to give its answer. Because like you said, like the answer is there. And just the lack of clarity is a way that we think we're protecting ourselves.
I love that. Now, what was your catalyst for getting into this kind of work?
Oh, I love this. So before this, I was much more like the corporate management type of space, very go, 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 heavy in my masculine, incredibly ambitious. But I was in my mid-20s and burnt out. I was already exhausted from just pouring into these companies that didn't want my feedback, didn't want my innovation, didn't want to do things differently. And I've always struggled with that notion that the way things have been is the way they'll always be, because I just don't buy into that. And so then in 2020, I had literally just left that job a week before the shutdown happened. So for the first time in my life, I was able to actually hit that pause button and really start asking, like, what do I want? Where am I going? Why do I want this? And that was the year I started my first online business, and I fell in love with entrepreneurship. And then a few months later, I actually found the life coaching world. And at that point, I had no idea what a life coach was or anything in the coaching space. I thought it was a lot of woo-woo and buzzwords and the highlight reel. But it was through a podcast, which is one of the reasons why I love podcasting. I was listening to this woman speak about how she works with people, and it was all about getting to the root and creating that sustainable transformation. And when I heard it, I was like, oh, there is something here. Like, this is different. And a few weeks later, I was enrolled in a year-long certification program, and it was like my soul was at home. I do not believe that purpose and career are connected for even most people, but I've known since I was little that it was for me. And so when I found the coaching world, it literally felt like coming home to the truest parts of myself, because it was so focused on, the goals and the ambition and forward focused, but with a healing attention to the past, so that we're not bypassing and we're not skipping over it. But again, it's like using the things we've been through as stepping stones so we keep moving forward, but in a really compassionate based way.
I like that. And it's funny because my last guest mentioned 2020 and my transformational year was 2020. And so I look back on that rather fondly, because there were some epiphanies that I had, a lot of healing work that I had to do. But I know it was a horrendous time for many, but because we couldn't really go out, couldn't do a lot of things, I just stayed home and learned about me and what was going on and what I needed to change, and did my mirror work and my inner child work. So it was a very critical year for me. Was it for you as well?
I totally agree. I hold so much space for the people where it wasn't good. I know it was just, there was a lot of pain, a lot of fear. Like, it was a really hard year. But I am so grateful for my experience, because I would not be where I am today or who I am today without having had that time to really take a beat and not have the go, go, go anymore and have to turn inward, because like you were saying, there was no external. All that was there was internal.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm so grateful that I found the world of entrepreneurship, and I was willing to follow that energy and that calling. And it was the next year that I really learned how to transform, because the program I went through was a very inner and then outer approach. So I learned how to be a coach by coaching myself and peers and being coached on by my peers. And it was just those 2 years, 2020 and 2021, were pivotal in just completely transforming my life and who I am in just the most magical ways. Like I have so much compassion and love for who I was. I love who I am and who I get to become because of those foundational years.
That's wonderful. And when you said you started that online business, what was that? Was that coaching?
It wasn't. So it was just an online clothing store that was kind of tied into a vacation sweepstakes of sort. It was very creative. It was very different. What I loved about it was getting to pour my energy and creativity and innovation into something that was for me, by me. No one could tell me no. No one could put limits on me. No one was creating the rules. I got to run the show. And that was what I loved. I didn't really love the actual online store part and just kind of that component to it. But I just knew that there was something about, the whole be your own boss thing that I just found so potent in my life. And then it was at the end of 2020 when I was listening to the podcast that I was introduced to the coaching world.
Okay. And I know what your answer is going to be, but in looking back at that corporate world, because I was there for many, many years in terms of real estate and lending, and I did that, and it's demanding. When you look back, could you ever go back to that?
I couldn't. I could not. Yeah.
Sucks your soul, doesn't it?
Demanding. It was exhausting. Being on call 24/7, always needing to put the business first, never feeling respected and acknowledged and just honored as a person. Just really, I couldn't do it.
Well, and you know what I learned, because there's a fear there when you step away from something, or, I stepped away from the real estate world. I stepped away from a marriage. I stepped away from many, many things. And you have to take that first step over the fear, because your life is going to change drastically. What got you over the fear?
I think it was that inner knowing that there's something on the other side. Because I so hear you, letting go of the jobs and the safety and the paychecks, letting go of the relationship and the house and like the life I had, because I knew I was keeping myself in a box, and it was more uncomfortable staying in the box than venturing into the unknown. But I had to get to the point where I was so uncomfortable staying that outweighed the fear of the unknown. And then from there, just leaning into what else can the unknown be? Like, yeah, it's scary, but there's also pure creativity. There's limitlessness. There's expansion. There's so much in the unknown that it's finding that balance where you can feel the fear, but do it anyways.
Yeah. And I learned surrender as well. I learned that, there is something so much more powerful than me, just to let it go. And I almost look at it now, what you did, what you're doing, as a form of self-love, because you knew there was more of you that people needed.
Absolutely. And it's saying yes to yourself at the deepest, most innate level, following what's truly there for you, what you truly want, what you can be, what life has for you. It is you, that saying yes to yourself is, I totally hear you. It's absolutely a form of self-love, self-respect, self-honoring. And at the end of the day, you are the only person that can give yourself the permission to do that. And a lot of people look outside of themselves for it, but it's you have to be the one to be willing to say yes to your calling.
Absolutely. And I try to I talk to people, and some are like, but everything is inside of you. Nothing is external. Absolutely. It starts inside, it ends inside. So, that's a message I'm still working on for some, but, it might be for them, it might not. So that's where I keep it. Now, do you have an office, or are you just strictly online now?
I'm strictly online, and then I'll go to places to host events. So I'll work with companies and go to their space to form of an event for their employees or their guests or their clientele. But I'm in the remote world and I love it. I know there's power in being in person, but for me, there's so much freedom in getting to be anywhere and continue to do this work. And then I get to work with people all over the world, not just locally.
Isn't that wonderful? Oh,
I love it. I do.
And one of the things to add to that is we get to be with the people we choose, not with who, and I'm not saying everyone's bad, but in the office or whoever, it's like, these are of our choosing. So we're finding our people where our hearts are resonating together.
Absolutely. And it just brings in so much alignment and just so much synchronicity.
You did it.
Yeah. You get to be open to anything and everything. And there's, like I said, there is power with the in-person, but there's also power in being able to be anywhere and everywhere and having those aligned connections come in. And like I said, like from all over the world, all different time zones, it's really special, especially when you're working. Like I would call myself in like the general life coaching space. So people come to me with all sorts of goals, like a lot of business goals, a lot of startup goals, but also relationship goals, personal goals. And through that, I don't have to be in any one component. Like I just get to create and work with people on what's alive for them so that all around the world, we're creating those ripple effects that just continue rippling out.
Yeah, that's wonderful. And it is really, you have an international fan base, database, whatever you want to call it, working on people in London or wherever. It's really, to me, I sit there and it's like it was a world I never even considered, but I absolutely love.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And sometimes it gets tricky with the timing. Like my very first client a couple of years ago, she was in Japan, and that was a 13-ish hour time zone difference, and but it's so worth it. I just love the freedom and flexibility that comes with it. And then I still have my in-person, I do speaking gigs. Like I said, I host the workshop, so I still get that component. But then I get to build in a place where anywhere.
Yeah. And there's no time clock. It's just your time clock.
Exactly.
That's wonderful. Now, I see that you are on a nonprofit. You're on the board of a nonprofit, Travel Through Trauma.
Yes.
Tell us about that. I would love to hear about that.
It is such a powerful nonprofit. It's founded by my soul sister Ashraf, and it's really about helping underprivileged young adults who come from underprivileged backgrounds step into their power in a lot of healing modalities, and then we combine it with solo travel, which integrates all the work that they do so that they are just stepping into that confidence and authenticity and self-empowerment. And so we've brought together a whole team of different types of coaches and licensed therapists who are. So we have like financial coaching, life, wellness coaching, language coaching. I bring in life coaching. And then with the therapy, we have created a 4-month curriculum that we send our clients through. And then at the end of that, we send them on a solo international trip so that they're, like I said, they're integrating the work that they've done. And it has been incredible. It's just been one of the most special things to be a part of. And to just see these young adults who sometimes like didn't have anyone in their corner, didn't have the privileges and just the steps in life to get where they want to go, being able to, for the first time, have mental health be a priority and be able to take care of themselves and be able to really step into their own power, maybe for the first time. It's just such an incredible organization, and it's been just the biggest gift to be a part of it.
That's wonderful. And I love that you're mentioning solo travel, because a couple years, my daughter, who was, I think 18 at the time, 19 maybe, got an invitation to Ireland to visit some friends she had worked with out here in South Carolina on a visa program. And she's like, Mom, I really want to go. I said, then do it. And so she sat there and she had gotten her flight. She had her whole itinerary and she goes, what do I do? I said, if you don't press buy, I'm going to do it for you. And so once she pressed it, of course, she paid for it. And so she was going. But I said, once you do it and you step over that fear, you're limitless. You're absolutely limitless. You can go out to dinner by yourself. You can go to a movie. You can travel. You can stay in hostels. You can, go on excursions, because what you've done is you've just empowered yourself. So
Absolutely.
tell me how those, I don't know if they're kids, I don't know who they are, but when you first meet them till when they come back from a solo excursion, how has it changed them?
Yeah, so they're young adults, and it is just so beautiful seeing them make friends when maybe they've really struggled with that, or just feeling so in their power that they can handle this, that they have got this. They feel so courageous, they feel so confident, and in a really authentic, organic way. And they come back from these trips like, okay, I like that was the one of the best experiences of my life. That was so amazing. I had so much fun. I let myself live. I let myself, be and exist, and just really took that time to like almost like self-encourage. Like if I can do this, I can do anything. And then they come back and we have our final life coaching session. So it really gears them up in a way where, yes, anything that's on your heart, like you've got this, you can do it. Like you are capable in spite of your background. It does not hold you back. And from there, infused with like that energy coming out of the solo trip, they get their next steps. And we have extended support. We have a couple partners that we partner with for extended support after the program. But it's just incredible. We have one of our clients is leaving later this week. We have one that just got back maybe a few weeks ago or a month ago or something along those lines. Like it's so potent, because it's a type of energy that you can't create inorganically. Like and like you were saying, like when you actually go and do it, you just really feel that limitlessness and how capable you truly are.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Now, is this your nonprofit that you created?
No, so one of my soul sisters that I actually met on my first solo international trip, which was also to Ireland, her name's Asha Farasadi. This was her heart mission, and so a few years ago she founded it. She told me about it. I was immediately in, and it's been growing since then. It's based in California, so right now
Okay.
our clientele is strictly Southern California, just with how what is the word, like license, therapy license,
Sure.
they're state governed. But our goal and our mission is to continue expanding to be first nationally and then globally, so that we can just continue this
Oh,
outreach and this impact, because it is
how
just
awesome.
I that woman is just one of the most amazing, powerful women. And what she's brought from that vision of just, I want to, because we all found healing and power through solo travel ourselves, especially her. I mean, I think she hit off like the 30 countries before 30. Like she's a global woman. Like, and
Wow.
from that, she just knew there was power in it. She's like, I just want to bring that. I just want to offer that to people that wouldn't have this opportunity otherwise. And that's what she did. And I've been a part of it since the beginning. I'm so grateful for that. I'm so honored for that, because it really is revolutionary. There's nothing else like it. There's no combination of mental health and travel. And we have found that specific combination, and specifically with solo travel, is so unique and so, so powerful.
It's really a brilliant concept, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It is. I had never thought of it, and we've done the research. We've the talking with different grants and others out there. Like there really is nothing like this.
That's wonderful. And I know that one of the things you talk about, I saw in your bio, is breaking free from self-imposed limitations. Now, when we're talking about all that, give me some examples of self-imposed limitations.
Yeah. So they're the things that are mind-based evidence but are not tangible evidence. So, for example, I was working with a woman that wanted to grow her own business. And when we were diving into subconscious, we realized that there was a connection to where when she was in high school, she wanted to be on a sports team, but her family said, no, you can't do that. We need you to work on the family homestead. And through that, her subconscious has formed, I can't go after what I truly want. I need to be responsible. And then when we were able to break that down, so this is an example of self-imposed, because we can see that it's not a real line. It's not something, outside of the mind, there's no evidence that going after what you want is irresponsible. And from there, she was able to kind of rewire that to be like, oh, okay, actually, like, how is going after what I want responsible, important, needed, things like that. And so that's an example of taking something that we are self-creating or self-imposing our own limitation. And I think that there's the dynamic, those stories are created in our youth or in the past, but then when we're in our present self, is there anyone actually enforcing anything? Is there any actual limitation, or are we just creating from the mind a limitation on ourselves?
Ooh, I love that. And the fact that you're helping people with that mentality I think is really, really important, because, my daughter, who's 23 now, when she was getting ready to graduate in the college, parents were insisting, no, you need to go. That's what we do. And then when you get out, you're going to join the family business, or you're going to go into real estate, or you're going to do this. And I always told my kids, we don't own you. We're here to keep you alive till you're about 21 at least, but we don't own you. And so forcing people into things at age 18 of all, I was no more ready to decide what I wanted to do. And I've done many things in the interim. How do we stop that, of parents thinking that their way is the only way?
It starts with just questioning that. When you really break it down, how can we ever know truly what's best for someone else? And again, like, where outside of the mind is any evidence that I know what's better for anyone else, including our children? And then when we can start realizing our own biases and projections, we can start transforming that so that we're creating space for someone else to have their own experience. We get our own opinions, but they get to have their own experiences.
That's wonderful. And, we're getting close to our time right now, Brittni. And before we leave, you've dropped so many amazing things that have landed into my world that I'll get to embed in my little brain. But just give us a few nuggets for the people that are listening. Just how do you love yourself? How do you make your own decisions? How do you maybe do what you did and successfully?
I always say, I think I said this earlier too, like, what's on your heart is here for a reason. Follow that energy. Follow what's alive for you. Follow what excites you. And through that, you're honoring yourself every step of the way and taking that time to nourish yourself too. Realizing that if you're in a go, 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 find your way of being. Find power in the stillness. And then on the flip side, if you have a hard time with action, trust yourself to move, to be in action, to take steps forward. And that combination of doing and being is where the magic happens. And also remember that it takes time. Life truly is a journey. It's cliche, but it's true. And so giving yourself that time to, day by day, step by step, knowing that it is unfolding for you.
Wonderful. That's perfect. And for anyone watching out there, I have put links in the description where you can get a hold of Brittni, and I would highly recommend reaching out to her. She has an amazing world going on just within herself, and I know you could be of help to so many people. So, Brittni, thank you for coming on today. It's been a pleasure meeting you. Your wisdom is amazing. I've learned a lot, and it's been very enjoyable. So thank you so much. And you know what? I always circle back around after a while to my guests to see what's next for them. So I would hope you would be in that group.
Oh, I would love that. Thank you so much for having me. This was an amazing conversation.
Thank you so much. Take care. Bye, everyone.